Our next newsmaker guest is the Executive Chairman of Great Western Minerals Corporation, Gary Billingsley. Great Western Minerals' latest press release announced a 123% increase in its Hoidas Lake resource estimate. The company has an option in a past-producing rare earth mine in South Africa. It's got 2 processing plants, one in the UK and one in the United States. It has a letter of intent with Toyota, the auto manufacturer, and a contract with the Department of Defense. Gary, thanks a lot for being on our show today.
Thanks for having me.
You've got an interesting strategy. Not many exploration companies are able to do this. It's called mine to market, where you take a deposit, you build a mine there, and then you actually produce the final product. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, we not only do we have the exploration and development projects that we're working on, we also have value-added capability already in place through a plant that we operate in Birkenhead, England, and in Troy, Michigan. And those plants are already producing value-added rare earth products targeted mostly to the permanent magnet industry. And we buy our rare earths from China right now, produce those products, and our goal is to get one or more of our mineral projects into production. And then we'll have completed that mine to market chain.
Okay. Your Hoidas Lake project is one of your main projects. Can you explain that?
Hoidas, we have pretty much completed drilling on it. It's a vein-type deposit. Okay. It's situated in a major geological structure called the Black Bay Fault. Runs 30 miles from Hoidas Lake down through Uranium City. There was a number of former uranium producers associated with the fault. Likely the same event that emplaced the uranium at one end and placed the rare earths at the Hoidas end. So we've got 30 known showings along 6 miles or 10K of that fault system, and we've only looked at 1 kilometer strike length of it, so haven't looked at very much of the whole system at all.
Right.
We've drilled that at 25-meter drill spacing and down along the kilometer down to a depth of about 300 meters, and we just announced our brand new 43101 update yesterday.
Your resource, you doubled your estimate?
We doubled our measured and indicated resource from about 1.2 million to 2.5 million.
So this isn't really a large resource per se. I think a lot of investors might look at it and say, oh, this is too small. What would you say to them?
When we look at it in terms of our own situation, our own corporate situation. And basically, if we can supply ourselves with material for a 10 to 20 year time frame.
Of course, so that's the difference with you, right?
Yeah, and that's our main concern. That gives us time to further develop these projects we're working on. Hoidas, for instance, we've finished drilling for now at the 2.5 million ton measured and indicated level. We have probably looked at less than 1/10 of the deposit, certainly a long strike, and we have no doubt it could be a lot bigger, but for us, the time and money is worth spent somewhere else, and that's in further developing some of our downstream activity.
So for Hoidas, what happens next?
Hoidas right now is finishing off the metallurgy, and metallurgy is really the key component to all of these deposits.
For a mine decision.
Yes, and it doesn't matter how big these deposits are. If your metallurgy doesn't work, then you've got nothing to produce. So that's the key focus for us. And from there we complete our pre-feasibility, move to final feasibility, and pilot plant work will be in the middle of all of that as well. So we still think that Hoidas could be on track for production by, say, 2014.
And you do have another project, it's in South Africa. It's called, if I can pronounce it correctly, Steenkampskraal mine. How is that one coming along?
It's moving along very well. The original option we had on that was more of an off-take arrangement, whereas we had an option to basically get control of 100% of the rare earths present in the deposit. There was also provision in there to negotiate an equity component, and we're working on both parts of that right now. And the key to that project is receiving the new mining permit. It is a fully permitted site. It's a former producer. And the one outstanding thing was the piece of paper from the government that says that we were continued under the new mining regulations there. And it looks like we should be receiving that hopefully before the end of the year. If that in fact is the case, then we want to fast track this project. And the possibility is it could be in production within about 18 months.
You own 2 processing plants, one in the UK, another in the United States. What are the revenue streams generated from these?
Right now it's running about 15 to 20 million US a year in revenue, and those are operating at about a third capacity right now.
Right. So then what is the potential revenue of this whole downstream model?
Well, actually, on the revenue side, if our plants are adding at or working at full capacity, all of a sudden you're talking about the $100 million to $200 million revenue range, and that's supplying our own product.
You've got a letter of intent with Toyota. What are the terms of that?
One of the rare earth elements that is used in permanent magnets is dysprosium.
Okay.
Mother Nature has seen fit to not put very much of that material in most of these rare earth deposits, so Toyota is quite concerned that there may be a shortfall of that material going forward, and that's required to make their neodymium iron boron magnets high temperature. So they were very, very interested in a couple of our deposits that are enriched in heavy rare earths, but in particular in dysprosium. And Douglas River is the one that they were first attracted to because it's 100% yttrium and heavy rare earth, with some of the grades running over 1% dysprosium alone. And the other one was Benjamin River in eastern Canada, which is actually a phosphate deposit, but it's enriched in heavy rare earths as well.
Is this a common type of arrangement?
It's definitely unique, and I think it does point to the concern they have about sources of these materials moving forward.
Indeed. What are the terms of the JV that you've discussed?
It's actually an LOI at this point. So we by and large gave them a free option for 6 months, and that expires in January. So we've taken them to the property. They have done their own sampling. They're being analyzed right now, so they're going to come back to us in the next few weeks here with some sort of proposal, and from there it'll move to a definitive joint venture if they want to proceed on them.
Gary, what qualifications do you and your team have that would give comfort to investors that you can complete the task?
Yeah, for myself, and I'm the executive chairman.
Yep.
I'm a geologist, so I've got a geology degree, and I'm a professional engineer as well. I'm also a chartered accountant. Jim Engdahl is our president. He was a former vice president of Barclays Bank, so he brings many, many years of corp finance to the company. We have in-house John Pearson, who's our vice president of exploration. He spent probably 12 years or more as Tech Cominco's manager of their Central Canada office. Richard Hogan, vice president of operations, ex-Placer Dome. And he's put several projects or been involved in several projects that have gone to production. He's a resource expert. On the rare earth side, we have in-house metallurgist, a fellow named Baodong Zhao. He's originally from Beijing with a lot of experience in the rare earth industry, but he got his PhD at Queen's University in Canada. So
Gary, China, it seems to be closing the doors to export for rare earths. Given that and given the demand situation, which could potentially explode in the next few years for rare earths, where do you see the company in, let's say, 5 years?
In 5 years, I see us definitely as a producer, and I think there'll be more in production than just steam Kampskrell, or at least steam Kampskrell on an expanded basis. I see our facilities in Troy, Michigan and Birkenhead, England operating at full capacity. And if certain things happen in the United States, I believe we may even have to expand capacity, both from the superalloy side, aerospace industry, but as well in permanent magnets and maybe even in nickel metal hydride rechargeable batteries. So I see the whole mine to market situation well established and perhaps even expanding in 5 years. And us positioned as probably one of the few companies in the world that is self-sufficient in that whole mine-to-market chain.
Wow, exciting times.
Very exciting.
Thanks a lot for being on the show with us today.
Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Investors can go to www.sharenow.net to look up the company's resource estimates and other information on the company.